So the last time I was on Alder Lake, it was a disaster. I only stopped in there for a few hours on my way back from the river, and I wanted to fish Alder Lake because I seen on the way out to the river that the lake was full. So I figured I'd drag my boat back and then hit Alder Lake on the way home. And oh, it was a lot of fun, but what a mess. It was the entire lake was nothing but debris, logs, trees, everything was you could imagine was floating on the top, on the surface, making it really difficult to fish. So I only fished for a couple hours, and the worst thing that happened was I lost one of my flashers, one of my setups actually. So I lost one of these. That's a half-fast flasher, and I lost one of my micro hoochie rigs, a 4-ounce cannonball, and my dropper rig that I make. This end goes to your rod, snap swivel onto this barrel swivel. We have a crimp, and then we have a heat shrink on there. And then we have a 6-inch piece here with the dropper slider rig here where your cannonball attaches to. This is 6 inches. The entire thing is 32 inches long, and it's 200-pound test monofilament. So the reason I use 200-pound test is because that's what I use for my halibut rigs, and I don't want to go buy something when I have something that'll work. And then there's a barrel swivel here, and then crimped again and shrink wrapped, heat shrink. And then of course this is like 28 inches, but like I said, the whole thing is 32. And then this goes to the snap swivel end that attaches to your flasher. So let's go ahead and make one. So we have everything here, the snap swivel, the 4 connector sleeves, bead chain, dropper rig, and a barrel swivel. About 28 inches of 200-pound test, along with the little 6-inch piece right here. First thing I want to do is start on the snap swivel end. That's going to be this one here. So we need the snap swivel, right? But we can't use the snap swivel first and put a sleeve on. So the sleeve, then through there, the back through, the sleeve. Like that. The way I crimp these is I crimp along the seam first and then the other direction. I'll show you. I pitch it the small way through here. 1, then 2. So they're crimped like that. And then I smash them together. Like this and like that. I hope you can see that. That way it's folded on itself and there's no way that's going to come off. Now let's put a piece of heat shrink on there. In the list of items, I forgot the heat shrink. 4 equal pieces of heat shrink. Put it on the other end. Slip it over the top. And then hit it with some flame, but be very careful, because it will damage the monofilament if you're not really super careful. This heat shrink step on this is not necessary. I just do it because, I don't know, I do stuff like that. Okay, so that's one end. Now we want to replicate this one here, right? We want to replicate this one. So the next step is going to be the bead chain. First we have this. First we have the heat shrink. Then we have the connector sleeve. Then we have the bead chain. And then it goes back through the connector sleeve. Come on, there you go. Just like that. Now let's go ahead and crimp it twice. in the center, and then fold it over itself, like that. Now let's slip our heat shrink onto it. And hit it with a little flame. You can see that monofilament start to melt, start to, you know, bend a little bit. So you got to be really careful with it, and there you go. Okay, now before we assemble this second piece, we have to make sure that we slide our dropper rig on there. Then you need, of course, the heat shrink connector sleeve. And then we can put it together onto the bead chain. Go ahead and crimp that on there. One crimp, two crimps, smash crimp, and smash crimp. Heat shrink. Now what we have is an identical rig to the other one. Snap swivel on one end, total length of 32 inches, bead chain here, barrel swivel here, and that's how I make my dropper rigs.